Starting with the breaking news now coming in as the war enters the fifth day, Iran has launched another barrage of missiles targeting south of Israel. In fact, sirens have already been sounded off in south of Israel. The latest update now coming in from the Israeli Defense Forces and the latest visuals. This was the very moment when the barrage of missiles, ballistic missiles that have been fired by the Iranian side. This comes at a time when Israel has already targeted several of Iranian commanders. The latest coming in earlier this evening when an Iranian commander, the newly appointed Iranian commander, was also taken down by the Israelis. Now, there is a massive escalation as we speak right now with the Israeli Defense Forces have essentially indicated that they have been able to intercept the missiles that have been fired. The latest report coming in, they're saying that none of the missiles that have been fired by the Iranians have actually reached the target. In fact, they've all been intercepted. That's the latest coming in, Abhishek. But there is a clear escalation right now. And more importantly, whether at all the United States of America will actually step in at this point in time with multiple of their aircrafts reaching the European regions.
Well, absolutely, Shawan. It's really building up to something. It seems that's what we are getting a sense from all these developments. The fact that Donald Trump has doubled down. Look at the last couple of tweets or posts over the last hour or so, and it's become clear that the United States is getting involved in some manner. We don't know whether that's just going to be engagement or it's actually going to be intervention. And if that be the case, then the last post of Donald Trump is ominous, where he's effectively targeting, in terms of messaging, Ayatollah Khamenei directly. And he's saying that we know where you are and we know we can get you. But of course, for the time being, we are not doing so. But then, of course, you have to be ready for something coming. That seems to be the message. If I read the exact words, Shawan, because that's really what it's building up to. He says, we know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is hiding. He is an easy target, but is safe there. We are not going to take him out or kill. Remember, President Trump, Donald Trump of the United States, is using the word kill. We are not going to kill you, or at least not for now. And now look at the extra lengths Donald Trump is going to impress upon these aspects of the American plan, that as of now we are not going to kill you, but we don't want missiles shot at civilians. And exactly that's what seems to be happening. All right, that's the post I was talking about. Donald Trump's tweet or post on Ayatollah Khamenei says, Trump has put out this fresh post. He says, and I quote, "We know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is hiding. He's an easy target, but is safe there, as we are not going to take him out or kill, at least not for now. But we don't want missiles shot at civilians or American soldiers. Our patience is wearing thin. Thank you for your attention to this matter." Typical Trumpist post coming in. And the fact that despite this, we are still getting those pictures, Shawan, which you were talking about, of Iranian missiles going over the territory of Israel, then it means that no side is backing off. And I think we are on the brink where American intervention is just a matter of time. If that be the case, then whether it's going to be tonight, whether it's going to be day after, whether it's going to be tomorrow, and it's about taking down of whatever remains of the Iranian nuclear infrastructure. Remember, much of it already denuded and decapitated by the Israelis, Shawan. And I think one remains, Fordo. You think it's going to be Fordo, about which the Americans are so impatient now, and Donald Trump personally so impatient now. Shawan.
Well, in fact, more breaking news now coming in, and it's just a matter of time before the United States of America basically steps in. In fact, the U.S. military has deployed more fighter aircraft to the Middle East, is what we are given to understand. The movement of more warplanes, essentially bolstering the U.S. military force. Now, earlier today, remember, a military base in Sevilla in Spain is where some landing has actually taken place. Now, with Donald Trump basically stepping out, it's a clear indication as far as the involvement of United States of America, perhaps with the Israeli Defense Forces, Defense Minister who's made a statement a short while back basically claiming that they are well aware of the whereabouts of the supreme leader, and with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu saying that the end of the conflict would be only after the elimination of the supreme leader of Iran. So clearly it's just a matter of time before we actually see the United States of America perhaps being drawn into this war in West Asia. Saurabh Shukla, consulting editor, Republic TV, is also joining us on this broadcast. Saurabh, it's just a matter of time before the United States of America is actually drawn in, or do you believe there could be a surprise coming in, particularly if at all they are successful in striking a deal with Iran? Saurabh, you'll have to unmute yourself.
Sorry, Shravan, as I was saying, hectic developments happening here in Washington, D.C., a lot of diplomatic engagements, and I know that militarily also, U.S. is watching the situation very closely. What President Trump is talking about is that the situation in Iran is such that I won't call it a regime change, but the Islamic regime may be falling, because that's what the indications that we are getting at this moment. Because on one hand, Israel has put a lot of military pressure. It's it remains to be seen if US will intervene directly militarily, but my source is telling me that the US side has confirmed to Israeli side that obviously they will make sure that Iran is not allowed to proceed with any nuclear weapon. Don't forget that despite all the assurances to the global community that Iran will abide by its nuclear commitment, it is a signatory to NPT. It has gone ahead, and there are credible reports now that it is going ahead and getting close to a nuclear weapons. And this whole standoff is about that. And the fact that they have now hit Israeli civilian installations has escalated this war to something which can, I would say, can engulf into a broader war. But if there is some kind of a regime change in Tehran, which my sources are telling me can be imminent, then the situation may be salvaged and there may not be a full-scale war, because obviously, as if you see the constant statement that is coming out from the Israeli side as well, this war is not against Iranian people or Iranian civilization.
Saurabh,
it's about against a regime which has been
Saurabh,
supporting terror groups like
from
Hamas,
your vantage,
yeah, Abhishek.
Your vantage, can you say confident, with some confidence, that this is just about that Fordo facility of Iran, which is the only one left which Israel has not been able to take down? So if Iran agrees to take it down on its own, then there is truce and both the sides would pull back. If not, then the United States might actually intervene, because they only have the bomb which can take down that facility, because it is about 100 meters under the earth. It is below the earth's surface.
So I can tell you one thing, there is a big debate happening domestically here on how much should be the US involvement, because Donald Trump also has a challenge in terms of his own party. Some of the party members who are in the the Republican parties, who are some of the senators, they don't want US to intervene completely on this war that is currently raging. They want US can be a tactical ally in terms of providing equipment, in terms of providing weapons, but US forces should not be involved in any way. So that's a dilemma that President Trump has, and he's trying to take a concerted view. That's the reason why he returned back, because there were also views, because the Israeli sides believe that this is their best chance not only to cripple Iran and also to, in some ways, get rid of the Islamist regime, which is being funding a lot of these terror groups. So the whole idea is that this is not only about these nuclear installations, but also to make sure that the Iranian regime, which has been supporting and funding these terror groups, that can be replaced as well. How long?
Okay, we have a breaking news development, which is that the United States has deployed more fighter jets to the Middle East. Remember, after Pete Hegseth's post early in the morning, which was late evening US time yesterday. America has been marshalling all its resources of the CENTCOM, the Central Command, and bolstering its military forces in the region as the war between Israel and Iran rages. 3 US officials have confirmed this. Of course, this is essentially messaging. Saurabh, if I could come back to you, what messaging is this? You are saying it's not, America is not going to intervene. Then why this level of mobilization?
So, yeah, I was coming to that, Abhishek. So this is power posturing. In military terms, you have to send a clear message. In this case, a message is being sent to the Iranian leadership that, while US may not be involved directly, but its forces are ready. And if you force our hand, then obviously we will make sure that we will come at you with full might. So that is also a tactical signal. I'm not saying that, because as I said, that President Trump, he's currently in the Situation Room in White House in Washington, D.C., which is where he has intelligence coming to him real time. He has his key advisors sitting with him, and this is a call that he has to take. So obviously, as the US president, you have to take a holistic call. He also has to make sure that his domestic constituency, which is his own party, is with him if he decides that the US will get into this war full throttle. But I still believe that some kind of a tactical support will be there to the Israeli forces, and that's the reason why you see a US military equipment in full force being mobilized to that side, because that is to put pressure on Iran. And if the regime falls, certainly the sense here, in the diplomatic sources that I've been talking to is then certainly things can be salvaged, because they expect some kind of a moderate leadership to come in, which will not only distance Iran from the nuclear program that the Islamist regime trying to get into, but also to cut Iran's ties with these terror groups, which has been posing threat. And don't forget, even the assassin.
Well, Abhishek, there's also big breaking news now coming in. The mobilization of US troops. In fact, this afternoon, when the reports basically came in of fighter jets moving towards Sevilla in Spain, several of the military bases where we're given to understand that there has been an active posturing that has been done by the United States of America. Now it turns out that they have also mobilized troops from some of the bases in Syria. Now they have withdrawn certain troops. Now there is a clear indication coming in. Now, as Saurabh has been pointing out, that this could perhaps be more of posturing that has essentially been done by United States of America. Now, in the backdrop of the talks that are likely to take place between US Vice President J.D. Vance and the Middle East envoy. And Abhishek, perhaps it's the posturing, but having said that, this is the large-scale mobilization that we have actually seen in the last 48 hours.
Well, it's classical of John Foster Dulles brinkmanship panning out, Shawan, as they say, and Saurabh would second that. This is escalate to de-escalate strategy of the United States, where they are projecting power in a manner that everyone believes that, oh, they are coming, the Americans are coming, they are going to get involved. Possibly they might, most likely they might not. And that's why in between all this aggressive posturing, you are getting those subtle messages, hints that the Americans are willing for a trade-off, which is that President Trump says that, oh, we have marked out where Ayatollah Khamenei, the supreme leader of Iran, is, but we are not targeting him for now. In the meantime, there is the option of talking to J.D. Vance. If the Iranians so want, they can speak to him and de-escalate. If not, then we are coming. So that's what's happening. Carrot and stick, more stick than carrot as of now, visibly. And the kind of posturing and the kind of mobilization we are seeing, Shawan, it's likely that if the Iranians do not pull back, and remember, they are also, if you look at it from their point of view, they are the nation that has been hit by Israel to begin with. That Israel has started this in this latest round. So obviously Iran can say, we are willing to talk, but then not with a gun to our head. In which case, de-escalation, the onus of de-escalation at least is on Israel, if not on the Americans directly. Having said that, even from the Iranian side, Shawan, remember a couple of hours back there was messaging through their interlocutors, through the other nations in the Middle East, possibly Qatar, we don't know, Qatar plays the joker of the pack always in the Middle East. The message was that Iranians are willing to negotiate provided Israel pulls back. That seems not to be happening as of now because we have seen missiles flying from both the sides into each other's territory. But Saurabh, your quick reading of this thought that this is essentially escalate to de-escalate.
Well, absolutely. You said it very well, Abhishek. I'll tell you, in diplomacy, in military strategy, sometimes wars can be won also by strategic posturing. Iran knows that it's under pressure. There is also a clear message being sent to Iran that Israel is not alone. They know that Israel alone has certain capability, but with the US coming in and other strategic allies helping Israel, its capabilities compound with the full might. So that's a message being sent to the Iranian regime right now. And if you put President Trump's social media post, that's a clear message to the Iranian supreme leader as well, that we know exactly where you are. So we know we have. So that also tells you that there is a presence of Israeli strategic agents on the ground in Iran, which obviously Mossad is very well known for. So certainly there is a message here that you have a small window of opportunity for you to negotiate, you to scale down your nuclear program, and also to make sure that you completely snap your ties. Otherwise, there may be an imminent regime change, because obviously there is a sense that read in tandem with the message that is being sent out by Israel as well, that this war is not against the Iranian people, it's not against Iranian civilization, but with the regime that has been supporting terrorism and has been harboring nuclear ambition. Because imagine if Iran gets nuclear weapon, then it will be up for sale to any terror groups like Hamas, Hezbollah's, of the kind. So that's the reason it's in the global interest to make sure that they step in and stop Iran in this stage. And also sometimes in military and diplomatic strategy, that this is the opportune time when you can create that full blow to make sure that the regime is shattered.
Saurabh, just hold on to your thoughts. Another breaking news development coming. It's a night of fast-paced developments in the Middle East theater, which is that Iranian missiles have targeted the Dimona nuclear plant in Israel. This is escalation. This is not de-escalation. This is not escalate to de-escalate. This is escalate to escalate further. Iran now targeting the Dimona nuclear power plant. We have to see what kind of damage has this Iranian strike caused on Israel. Dimona nuclear plant is under a barrage of Iranian missiles as we speak. That's the latest development coming in, which means Iran is no mood to back off. Iran is not caring two hoots about the American posturing. Clearly, Saurabh, no impact of Donald Trump's those crisp, sharp posts.
I'll tell you what, Abhishek. So clearly, once this is clear that Iran is not scaling down its attack, it's continuing to provoke and hitting at Israeli nuclear plants now, certainly this will escalate. The whole idea, and I'm also being told by my sources here that please see and read the message that has been there coming from the US side that our patience is running thin. So that means that if Iran does not scale back, it continues to hit Israeli targets, then obviously you will see some kind of a tactical US help coming to Israel in the first go, and then obviously a full-scale involvement cannot be ruled out. But I do know that even with tactical support and along with the capabilities that Israel has, that can be a very, very lethal combination when it comes to neutralizing Iran.
Okay, Saurabh.
If you
Saurabh, hold on to your thoughts. In fact, we have Aishwarya also. Just stay with us. We are having a fast-paced conversation because it's a evening of fast-paced developments.
Abhishek.
We have Aishwarya now joining us. Aishwarya joining us from New York, Washington,
Abhishek.
Los Angeles. From where in the United States, Aishwarya?
Washington, Abhishek, but the fact is very clear that the way America has completely, Donald Trump has come out, and as we've seen earlier as well, he is on a rampage. He seems to be like a bull in a china shop. He's saying that unconditional surrender. He's redirecting forces from Syria towards Iran. He has moved the most powerful air carrier from Vietnam to the Middle East. It seems Trump means business. It means that it's a direct message to Ayatollah Khomeini. It's going to be very, very interesting, Abhishek, that how Tehran is going to react to it. You were just speaking to Saurabh. We've been having this conversation even on our Hindi channel, that how is Tehran going to react. But what has forced Donald Trump to do that, and you've been covering international affairs for a long, long time, Abhishek. When I checked, that it has been for the first time in the history of any American president, ever since G7 was established, that an American president has left a G7 meeting right in the middle. So Iran, what they have done in the last 48 hours has forced the American president to leave G7, which was happening in Calgary, take a 5.5-hour flight back to DC, though he could have taken all these decisions there, but he had to send a message. And those messages are being given very, very quickly and fiercely. They are moving their forces, they are moving their troops from Syria, redeploying them towards Iran. It's a clear message that America means business, Donald Trump means business, and he is giving a message to to not only the Iranians but also the Russians that do not test the might of the mighty American military. Abhishek and Saurabh.
Okay, so stay with us. Ashwarya, we are not letting you go. Ashwarya, stay with us. In fact, there is another breaking development, which is that Iran has now claimed to hit the Mossad headquarters in Tel Aviv. And that, according to Iranians, would be a big one. Though, of course, Mossad claims that it's okay, we are not there, we are in Iran now, so you can hit the headquarters. Saurabh, quick comment. Israel denies those claims, but Iran says that they have hit the Mossad headquarters. Okay, Aishwarya, coming back to you, Aishwarya. You know, Mossad, of course, would be inside Iran as they claim. So, if the Mossad headquarters are hit as Iran claims, is it a big loss to the Israelis, except for the fact that their Iron Dome seems not to be working this time?
Abhishek, this social media warfare is at its own. Mossad claiming they are in Iran, Iran claiming they are basically destroying Mossad's headquarters. But one thing is for clear, that whatever Iran has done on ground, the kind of destruction in the last 48 hours in Iran, in Tel Aviv, has been massive, and that is something which has forced the American president to come out of G7 and come back to DC, where I am, and then take these decisions. But this is a big one. If they have literally hit the Mossad headquarters, then it raises a big question on the complete defense system and the so much hyped Iron Dome of Israel. Because a lot of questions are being asked, a lot of analysts are questioning if Iran has been able to decipher a way to break the Iron Dome of Israel, then it's going to be trouble. But then, with the American president coming out in full support of Israel, he has not minced his words, Abhishek, though Donald Trump is known to not mince his words, but to write unconditional surrender and nothing else. Diverting his troops from Syria towards Iran is a clear message. It's a clear message that America means business, and that is very, very clear. It's very, very it's very critical now. The next 6 hours here in US, I was just mentioning on our Hindi channel that it's 12:45 in noon right here. Meetings are on right behind me, which is the South Lawns of the White House. And the situation, we can tell you, senior officials coming in and going out as I speak. So yes, Americans are working overtime at this point of time, ever since the American president is back. But the latest information which you are bringing into our viewers, Abhishek, that Iranian defense ministry claiming that they have hit the Mossad headquarters, though Mossad claiming they are in Iran. What is happening on ground? Visuals show that there is a massive loss of infrastructure in Tel Aviv, in their different cities, and that is something which has forced the Americans to come out in their full support. Back to you, Abhishek.